And welcome to the Thursday edition of Things You Might Have Heard. I am Jay Cleveland Payne, and how gentle is the rain that's falling not so softly on my walls, not quite my roof because we were a bottom apartment here. And thank you so much for being a part of the show, and thanks so much for dealing with the yesterday problem, which was the fact that there was no sound. Yeah, we're still kind of getting things together, and some of the buttons aren't quite working the way they were. So thank you for all of that. Right now, let's get very quickly into the stories we have and things you might have heard. We're going to present for you 8 of the top stories from yesterday that are the tops in information for politics, current events, and pop culture as vetted by you. We have mainstream stories and plenty of side stories as your new side piece, giving you supplemental stories that you should love. And we're going to talk about a topic that I didn't think I'd be doing, but we popped it in there, we threw it in there. Popular mommy bloggers, basically one of the OGs of mommy bloggers, has passed away in a very serious incident. So we'll talk about that coming forward. And we'll have 7 other stories, including, yeah, that guy who was on TV last night. So we'll explain how you get to vet the stories and tell us what stories are good enough to talk about after we go through the headlines. But first, let's just get into the thing. Remind you very quickly that our main website is this. It's theconversationproject.com for more details on all the stuff we do. I say that, you check it out, and you can see it on your own. Let's chatter between here and there. Right now, let's get into the news stories. We hit the button, we're going to get this thing going. Today is, of course, Thursday, May the 11th, 2023. Let's get to our first headline in the morning, and it is dealing with that guy who was on TV last night. Trump continues lies about election and lashes out after New York verdict in town hall. Now, after the dust had settled on the monstrosity, on the just, there are just not enough bad words to disclaim to describe what happened last night on CNN in this town hall, and feeling very sorry for fellow Alabamian Caitlin Collins, who had to deal with that. It put off a whole bunch of shows and basically showed everybody what Trump was. And the problem is, people who like what Trump is liked what they saw. People who don't like what Trump is don't like what they saw, and they have nothing they can do about the people who like what Trump is, because they were very vocal. If you watched it or heard some pieces of it, the crowd was all into it. It was a crowd of Republicans and independents who were in wherever they were, Wyoming, New Hampshire, wherever, that were supposed to be there to sort of, be happy. I guess the terms of endearment were, we're going to give you a happy crowd, a nice crowd, a crowd that basically likes you. And the questions that went towards them were essentially softball questions from the audience to go there. Now, Caitlin Collins spent the entire hour basically saying, Trump, you're lying, Trump, you're lying, Trump, you're lying, every time he just started rambling off on stuff. And as the headline just there, one of the biggest things he lied about and went into contention with is the election, opening up with we won the election, which obviously would not happen, and of course talking about the verdict in New York, where E. Jean Carroll won $5 million for sexual assault, not rape, and going into details about how rich people get to do things because they're allowed to. He didn't say they just do it. They're just allowed to. It was a rambling mess. It was all sort of crazy, and nobody should have watched it. However, I watched all of it, and I'm not sure, what I expected, but it was pretty much what I expected. We will see how these things go along. We'll see if anybody actually knock him off his perch as a leading contender, because if you see what you saw last night, if you saw what you saw last night, you saw not a good person running for president, and the chances are he has a very good chance, 50-50 chance in most cases, of becoming president again. Another issue with another Republican dealing with legal issues. This is Embattled Republican Representative George Santos. He's a Republican, by the way, arrested on charges including fraud, lying to Congress. This happened yesterday. The charges were put into place early in the week. He showed up for New York to surrender himself to the court. He pleaded not guilty to 13 federal charges, including fraud and lying to Congress. If convicted, the freshman lawmaker could face up to 20 years in prison. Now, what he has right now is limited travel privilege, if you will. He can go to Washington to go to work. He can show back from New York to do his trial. He can't go no place else without actually talking to a lawyer or talking to the judge. We will see how this one plays out. He says it's a witch hunt. You may have heard those words before. But George Santos is going to fight to clear his name on this one. He's already said he's going to run for re-election. That may sound familiar to you as well. So we're going to see how the Santos thing plays out. Now we get a chance to see what actually is in the package, what they actually have against him, and we'll see what he can do to fight the fire with whatever fire that he has. from our teaser graphic. Original mommy blogger Heather Armstrong, best known as, I believe it's Dooce, dead at 47. I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce it, so I put her in as Heather Armstrong. Well, actually, I did put her as Dooce in the teaser lines, but if I'm saying that wrong, I apologize. I'm going to call her Heather because I can say Heather. Unfortunately, she died by suicide. Her boyfriend, Pete Ashdown, told Associated Press. She's survived by her daughters, Lita, who's 19, Marla, who's 14, and her ex-husband, John Armstrong, who she got a name from. She rose to fame as a writer when she launched her blog, Dooce, in 2001. She was one of the first mom bloggers to write honestly and openly about her mental health, and she also became one of the first bloggers to leave the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints back when that was a fight of people, gaining prominence by leaving LDS and saying that the life of a Mormon isn't exactly how it plays up on the commercials. She said she felt inauthentic and not to share what she was going through in life. That's how she went through her entire years in what's going on. She openly shared her struggles with depression in recent years, and in 2017, she enrolled in a clinical trial to see if depression could be treated by putting patients into chemically induced comas. We are saddened by the loss as a person who suffers from depression, and we talk about these things often. It's one of those things where you know it when you know it, even when it's sometimes hard to sort of diagnose and figure out. And when we do these stories, we always give a big reminder of resources that you can get to if you are feeling depressed, feeling down, just not sure what you're feeling. We are going to offer up right here in this slide the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. The number to call or text on cell phones now is 988-988. I believe the old number still works and it's going to work for another year or so, but because of modern technology, you can call or text someone at 988 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. People in English and Spanish will be there for you. Also, go online and visit 988lifeline.org for more resources there. We are sending lots of positive thoughts to ways to the family of Miss Heather Armstrong and all those who knew her and loved her, both in her writings and just in general. And just say that depression is, depression sucks. Depression is not a joke. It's a very, very, very real thing. West Virginia suspends men's basketball coach Bob Huggins after use of his homophobic slur. He did that on his radio show a few days ago. He's apologized. We've talked about this already. Now we know that he's suspended. Now, what does that mean in the rink of basketball where, it's the summer and you're not playing college basketball? Well, he can't actually do any of his major work. So that's things like recruiting and talking to people and just doing the business stuff. Other folks will have to deal with that one. But we will see how this thing plays out. Go deeper into the story by checking out the link in the description, and you can go into how this is going to play out and why exactly it did play out. We're not going to go through the whole slurs things again, but you can see for yourself why this is a thing. Byron Allen sues McDonald's for allegedly lying about commitment to black media. The McDonald's said that Allen's lawsuits were part of a public smear campaign and it would defend itself vigorously. Allen said that McDonald's had lied and made false promises to black America. McDonald's lawyers said mediation to settle Allen's $10 billion lawsuit has been unsuccessful and accused Allen of trying to harangue, that's in quotes, the company into unmerited resolution. What he's saying and what they're saying, Byron Allen says that McDonald's pledged to offer up money and resources and some of its fame and assets to black media sources. And Mr. Allen says that was a lie. McDonald says, we have offered up media and fame and money to black media resources. And what Mr. Allen is doing is sort of pressing the issue and trying to essentially, extort, if you will. We'll see how this one plays out, apparently in court. Football news. Jets will host Dolphins in NFL's first Black Friday game. Who knows why it took so long to do this. The Jets have acquired Aaron Rodgers, and he's going to be a big star on Black Friday with the only game in town on Friday. And he's going to take on the Dolphins. They're hosting them on Black Friday, first time this year, streamed live on Amazon Prime Video. So, yeah, there's that. But football on Black Friday gives you something to watch. There's college football, but you can watch a program now on your Black Friday agenda. Trans Montana Representative Zooey Zephyr proposes to girlfriend at queer prom. Montana's first transgender legislator got engaged to a girlfriend, a trans activist and writer Erin Reed, at a queer prom event in Missouri, Montana on Friday. They said they love each other and want to do the work they can do together for the rest of their lives. She proposed it to Reed at the queer prom on Friday, and the room erupted in cheers. Zephyr wrote in her newsletter that she was happy to share her joyful story with her readers after what she and Reed have experienced recently. Of course, last month, Montana House voted to censure Zephyr for inciting protesters, barring her from the House floor, and only allowing her to vote for legislation remotely. The bill to ban gender affirming care for minors passed and was signed into law last week. That's what she was protesting, and it's sort of been a big hubbub. Now, the biggest thing to come from this, and this is Jay Cleveland's personal opinion, is that if it weren't for all the sort of weirdness that Republicans are doing to vote against trans stuff and fight against trans stuff and fight against people who are actually doing more or less just saying have the right to speak out and just saying things even though they're going to lose, is that now people like Zooey Zephyr is a national name, and we're seeing her propose to her girlfriend at a queer prom. If they would just let her speak and then did the vote would have passed anyway, and we wouldn't be talking so much about Zooey Zephyr. That's the reality. Now the deeper reality is there are issues out there that are being squashed from people who are being marginalized. This is always true. And the marginalization is determined by who's actually being marginalized. Now, sometimes there are weird people who are saying weird things, and sometimes there are different people who are saying different things. You have the right to determine in your own head who are weird and who are different, but on a grander stage, what we're talking about here is rights and actually public health. So, you can take your stance on this one. I'd like to know what you think on this story and these stories, air quotes in general. Reply to me via email, jclevelandpayne@gmail.com, and we can chat this up offline. And finally, headlines for today. Starbucks charging $1 for no water refresher drinks, angering brand loyalists. Starbucks is charging customers $1 extra to get their refresher beverages made without water. And some brand loyalists aren't so happy with that. The company said the juice drinks are more expensive to make without water. One would think so because water is what it is. Starbucks is asking customers to pay fair value. Starbucks is asking customers to pay fair value for what they're getting by charging more for the drinks without the water. And several Starbucks fans complained at the stores misrepresented the new corporate policy, causing confusion among the customers. The $1 upcharge is for no water only, and resources say that the ice modifiers will be unaffected. That's what they say. But it's, of course, more juice, less water. Juice is more expensive than water. So Starbucks wants to upcharge folks who want to get their little cheat out of there. One problem with Starbucks customers is there's a lot of people who do the hacks to get their little cheats out of stuff. So that's a thing. It's actual cottage industry of people with Starbucks hacks and drink hacks to kind of get themselves over on folks who save the extra buck on things. Now that Starbucks is fighting back because unions, it becomes an issue. Let's talk about our teaser story for today, which could be a story we chat up tomorrow if you deem this one worthy. Go to our website, or go to the websites of Twitter and Facebook, to be honest. Facebook.com/This is a Conversation Project and Twitter.com/th_conversation. Every 50 minutes, we post news stories for you to enjoy, you to read, you to keep up with what's going on in real time, or more or less real time because they get scattered around the day. What we do with those stories is take the data from your engagement, and if you look at them, if you read them, you share them, and we know what stories are more conversational. So the stories that you are sharing with people are obviously ones you want to talk about. We take the top 15 stories on Tuesday through Friday, and we'll pull 8 from them and present them here, as we just did before. On Mondays, we present to you stories from Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and a little bit of Monday, and we can pull it from the top 30, pulling 10 stories for that show there. Today's teaser story, if you deem this worthy, is this. Company says it'll pay someone $1,000 to watch every Fast and Furious movie while taking notes on car damage. There's your caveat. If you got a week to kill, because the movie comes out, Fast X is coming out on next Friday, you can take the time and watch all the Fast and Furious movies, but then You've got to basically be an insurance adjuster and take the notes on all the damages to all the vehicles. Are you ready for the task? It's only paying you $1,000, but hey, if you got that much time to watch that much movies, maybe $1,000 is worth the time and effort. So let's move on to our sponsor for this morning's show, and we're going to pull from our friends at Zenny Optical, which I'm not wearing my glasses in the videos anymore because of the setup. I'm way closer than I was before, so I can see things. Also, got some of my health issues helped out with my vision, believe it or not. But I can not drive without those glasses. I still can't see various things without glasses. So I'm not vision. It's not fixed. It's not LASIK surgery. So everything's not fixed. But I still need glasses. Just tend to not wear them on close up like this. But what do you get from Zenny Optical? It's very simple. You get great glasses. How about that? At great prices. How about that? Zenny Optical will offer the best frames, the best lenses, the best technology in glasses for fractions of the cost that the other people buy. So you can see all the commercials, all the advertisements, all the pushes make you pay money to see your glasses. Zenny Optical will make your pair of glasses. You can try them on, and if you don't like them, you can just send them back. You don't pay them money to lease glasses and then figure out which ones you're going to buy eventually. You just buy the ones you want, and if they don't work for you, they'll take them back. It's that simple. Go to thisisaconversationproject.com/Zenny. This is theconversationproject.com/Zenny, Zenni, for this deal. This is an affiliate link, so we get a little cash back when you buy their glasses from Zenny. That's how it works. It costs you nothing extra, and the prices are already awesome, so you have that going for you right there. And so for people who are not watching the video, I put my glasses on, put my glasses off. That's all, for effect. But you have glasses, you need glasses. Discover the joys of going through Zenny and going directly to the manufacturer and getting good pairs of glasses for very good prices. Hyping ourselves up for a bit, going back to talk about us at our home online. This is theconversationproject.com for The Conversation Project. We provide for you this video, audio, podcast thingy every Monday through Friday morning. Provide weekend podcasts as well that go deeper into some of the details. The weekly wrap-up is the pure, by the numbers, top stories of the weekend. We go into commentary with a bit of a flair, if you will, with your welcome commentary. We'll take a popular topic, if you will, and go deeper into it in the unpopular ways. Basically allowing people, much like the followers of Donald Trump, to think the things or hear the things that are being said about things outright from a voice who's a bit more non-believing. I am politically, I'm slightly right of center, and just for party-wise, I can't claim any party because both of them are pretty much equally awful as parties. But I like individual people in individual places, and so I support the candidate that I want to. So you get a kind of hopefully independent-minded thought process from me when I do stuff. And when I do your welcome commentary, it's not me speaking in my voice most of the time. It's me speaking in the literally doing the Tucker Carlson, well, I'm just asking a question sort of voice, which is usually code for I'm saying nonsense for the sake of stirring the pot, which happens. Check that out. Check out more things we have behind the scenes. You can find them at the website. And if you deem what we're giving you as good content, consider partnering up with us. Go to our partnerships page and see if it's something that you would like to do to help us directly work out those things. Various ways of partnerships, because we don't turn away any money for the Conversation Project or More Better Media LLC, if you will. Now, let's get to the fun stuff. Let's get to the stuff you've all been waiting for. And this is all the things you might have heard include the fun stuff, birthdays. May 11 birthday, starting off with the amazing Martha Quinn. Martha Quinn, one of the original MTV VJs, 64 years old on the day. Tim Blake Nelson also having a birthday. He is not turning 64. He's only hitting 59 on the day. So congratulations on that. And actor Jeffrey Donovan, 55 on the day. Lots of stuff he has done, including Burn Notice, which is where a lot of people become more familiar with him as a leading actor type folks. But there's a lot of things he's popped in a lot of movies he's in there. And of course, right now, he is basically the sole survivor in the reissue of Law and Order, although Sam Waterston's still sort of there, showing up here and there. 55 years old on the day for Jeffrey Donovan. Today in history, let's do a bit of lessons for some things that happened. Going back to 1960, on this day, the first contraceptive pill was made available on the market, causing changes to lifestyles to women and families all the time since that time. Now, bear with me on this next one. In 2007, more than 5,500 people in London, Trafalgar Square, smashed the record for the world's largest coconut orchestra. Original Monty Python stars Terry Jones and Terry Gilliam led 5,567 members of the public and cast members from the musical Monty Python's Spamalot in rendition of their classic sing-along, Always Look on the Bright Side of Life, to claim the Guinness World Record title. People say that the Guinness World Record is kind of a shell of itself, if you will. It's pretty much useless at this point in time, but things like this are pretty fun. Now, I'm not sure what the original record, whether they broke for world's largest coconut orchestra was, but 5,567 people clicking coconuts to a Monty Python song is kind of cool. And in 2019, carbon dioxide levels in the Earth's atmosphere hit levels not seen in 3 million years. Now, how do they know this going back 3 million years? Well, we'll actually get to that in a minute. But so we've had higher levels of carbon dioxide, registered in 2019 than had been for 3 million years. Just like, we have the weather people to say the most accurate weather forecast ever. Like, ever? Like, Jesus was pretty good at predicting weather. I'm not sure he's on that list, but we'll see. We'll get back to carbon dioxide levels and in a minute. Today is not May 10th, it's May 11th, but we are celebrating Twilight Zone Day. So let's have that mixed into the thing. And while it'd be cool to say we're celebrating the life and the times of the band Golden Earring, who had the song Twilight Zone and, of course, Radar Love, we're actually celebrating the TV show, or shows, if you will. Give some love to the Twilight Zones, the original Rod Serling acting, maybe some of the stuff that was brought up by Forrest Whitaker and stuff, and a couple of different renditions here or there popping up along the lines, including a few different types of movies. The Twilight Zone is a institution. The Twilight Zone is actually a thing where you walk into a cave and there's a space between the darkness that is way too dark and the light outside. The Twilight Zone is where it's essentially twilight in the cave and it's semi-dark and you start to see things. That is where they got the actual idea or the thought process for the title, The Twilight Zone. Celebrate some Twilight Zone by going to Sci-Fi Channel or YouTube, if you will, and watching some reruns of Sci-Fi or of Twilight Zone specifically. Probably do a little bit of that myself today as well. Now, we were talking about that whole carbon dioxide levels, since 3 billion years ago. One more thing you might not have heard for today: if you think that the early Earth without industrial pollutants from mankind whatsoever smelled fresh and natural, you'd be in for a rude and stinky surprise. Scientists determined that billions of years ago, Earth smelled like rotten eggs. Why? Sulfur and carbon dioxide. And so millions of years ago, it smelled really bad, and basically right now, it smells pretty bad. That's what we have for today. On this slowish news day, at least for the fun stuff, it's kind of slow. But thank you so much for joining us for this Thursday, May 11th, 2022. And since we made it the whole 23 minutes, hopefully I've done this with sound, because yesterday I didn't. Thank you so much for being a part of this show. We do it every single weekday, and we'd like to provide for you great news stories that, because me being a news nerd, not being happy with the way news is presented, I want to get a better shot of some stories that people actually are engaging in, and you do that as well. Give me something to do. Keep me off the streets, if you will. Thank you so much for joining us for the show. Join us for all the grand things that we have going on and the grand things that we go behind the scenes for other offerings as well. Stop by our website and see what you can do for that, whether there are other podcasts. Stop by our partnerships page and see if you'd like to partner up for grander things going forward. Make sure you follow us on the feeds on Facebook and Twitter, because that's how we know what to talk about. You literally tell us about that. And even though I actually made coffee but didn't go get it, stay hydrated, stay limber, and stay on task. We are needing you here for grand things in life. So we want you to be here for all the grand things that you're here to be for, which is pretty much it. Remember, if you are in need, if you're feeling down, if things are not so great, the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline is there for you. Call or text 988 on your cell phone, or visit 988lifeline.org. online 24/7. People will answer or text you back or send you resources, Spanish and English available. With that, we will bid you adieu. No further one, but an adieu right here. Thank you so much for joining us for this Thursday edition of the show. Let's do it one more time tomorrow, come Friday.